Happy Monday. Happy Monday. What is going on, everybody? How's everybody doing? Hope everybody has had a good weekend. First full week back at work last week. So I know that was probably the slowdown week, but we back into it this week. This was the second Monday of 2025, but it felt like this one was more of the normal Monday. Like last Monday was like the first Monday of the year. It's like everybody's coming back from vacation, all that good stuff. Everybody's kind of playing catch up, really getting back into the groove of things. But this Monday felt like, you know what? This is the one where it's like, okay, this is the actual real Monday. But what's funny is next week is MLK. So some people are going to be out next week and some people are going to be in next week. So it's going to be a weird Monday, but we're still going to be here right here on Mental Wellness Live. But how's everybody doing today? Drop in the comments below how you doing, how you feeling. How's everything doing? Are you stressed out already? I want to know. Is it at what are we, day 13 in the field, in the building? Are we feeling stressed already? Like if we feeling stressed already, we might need to we have to improve some things. Shout out to the devastating divas of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Shout out to my favorite Delta, love of my life, my wife. Helped to record some content the other day, and we getting it popping. Shout out to the Reds. But that's not why y'all came here. We came here to talk mental wellness. In particular, we're talking about proven ways to deal with stress. Proven ways to deal with stress. And this is so important because we deal with stress literally every day. Some of us may not deal with it every day, but for the majority of us, we deal with different stressors on a daily, whether it's bills, whether it's family, whether it's work, whether it's our health. We all deal with stress on some way or level. And the thing is, if that stress builds up, builds up, builds up, builds up, we tend to deal with the stress one way or another. Now, if you're a healthy individual, you probably are going to be familiar with some of the ways that we talk about today. But if you're an unhealthy individual, then you may just be delaying your stress instead of actually dealing with your stress in a healthy way. What do I mean by delaying your stress? Well, I mean, of course, going to happy hour after work, like immediately after work. You have to meet up with your boys, you have to meet up with your girls, and you have to decompress with a nice drink. Or you're doing something that is even worse. And by worse, I don't necessarily mean substance. It could mean a whole bunch of other myriads of things. But I'm not going to get into the negative. We're going to get more into the positive ways to handle stress. So, but before we really get into the positive ways, we really have to understand, one, why this is important, two, how stress is affecting us. So before you really can deal with your stress, you got to understand what your stress symptoms are. And a lot of times when I do a presentation on this topic, people don't really understand the gravity of how stress is impacting the body. Not only where it comes from. People have a good understanding of where their stress comes from, whether it's their work, their relationships, their families, their health, whatever. People can pretty quickly understand, like, okay, this is the area in my life that is causing me stress, but they don't really understand how that stress is impacting them. And so one of the things that you have to understand is stress doesn't just affect your brain. It does affect a lot of your brain, your thought process, your cognitions, your ability to focus, your ability to make rational decisions. Stress does impact all of that. But what we have to understand is that stress affects the body as well. It doesn't isolate in the brain, it transmutes all the way to and through the body. The thing is, you just have to understand and recognize how stress is affecting you. I always say this, everybody is different because everybody is different. So the way that stress is affecting you is going to be completely different than how stress is affecting me. So stress may affect you by raising your blood pressure, affecting your blood sugar, affecting your cholesterol levels, but it may affect somebody else in the form of skin rashes, eczema, breaking down things like that. It may affect another person by attacking their immune system. So they may get chronically sick, have a lingering cough, have a hard time really dealing with the sickness in the flu season. Another person is going to affect their gastrointestinal health. So they're going to have stomach aches. They're going to have to go to the bathroom a lot, or they're not going to have to go to the bathroom at all because they'll be all the way backed up and constipated. So the thing about it is you have to recognize how stress is affecting you, your body. Do you get easily overwhelmed? Do you get easily irritated? Do you have trouble focusing? When you need to be creative and stress is in the picture, does that hinder your flow? Do you find yourself running out of energy quickly? Do you find yourself being chronically fatigued even if you've gotten 8 hours of sleep? But you wake up still tired. What you have to understand is that stress combined with cortisol, combined with all the other oxidative stress, is very, very bad for the body. These are the reasons why they say stress will kill you, because it literally affects so many different systems in our body. And if that is prolonged, that happens for a continuous period of time, it will cause systems to not work properly. I'll give you an example. So I just mentioned cortisol. Cortisol is, of course, known as the stress hormone, right? A lot of people know that already. But what a lot of people don't know is that in preparing your body for fight or flight, which is what cortisol's job and purpose is, to give us energy to the muscles, to the system groups that we need to be able to attack or run away, is that people are experiencing that constantly throughout the day, but they don't know how to regulate that cortisol and bring it down to baseline, bring it from fight or flight to rest and digest. People don't often recognize that. So one, they're having a lot of triggers that trigger that fight or flight response. So you're constantly in a state of hypervigilance, in a state of, I don't want to say necessarily panic, but you're in a state of awareness, your senses are taken, and people don't realize how easy it is to fall victim to that. I'll give you an example. Let's say that, you're supposed to be at work at 9 o'clock, right? But you stayed up late watching whatever or hanging out with your friends. So you went to bed late and you woke up at 8 o'clock. Now it takes 30 minutes for you to commute to work, but it usually takes you about 45 minutes to get ready and prepared for work. So what does that mean? Yeah, you're waking up in a panic and you're rushing. Congratulations, you've already started your day off with a cortisol flooding. And it's little things like that throughout the day, mind you, that is intoxicating our body with cortisol, which is causing health issues to your physical health and your mental health and well-being as well. So you have to recognize how easy it is to fall prey to stress, which means we have to be very proactive about managing our stress, proactive about how we're interacting and how we're flowing and going throughout the day. Get what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and get into some of the proven ways to healthily deal with stress. All right, so first things first, number one, you have to build a strong defense for your body. So when we talk about a strong defense, we're talking about building up that resistance, that resilience to the stressors on a cellular level. Cameron, what do you mean by that? So when you hear the term antioxidants, that is essentially describing a defense to oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is, to summarize a long scientific explanation, it's basically when stress hurts your body on a cellular level. Antioxidants fight off the oxidative stress. And so through diet specifically is a way that we can defend our body from oxidative stress and chronic stress as well. Because when we don't have the proper nutrition, when we don't have the proper gut health, when we don't have the proper cellular resistance, our body falls prone to the effects of stress. I'll give you an example. One of my old clients, still see her today actually. One of my clients was dealing with panic attacks. Everybody's different, right? Because everybody is different. So she was dealing with panic attacks, right? But in questioning her, because I like to provide a full assessment when I'm meeting with somebody. So I like to look at not only your psychological history, but I also like to look at your nutritional history as well, right? And so we got to the part where it's like, okay, so nutritionally, what are you eating, right? And very irregular, very inconsistent patterns of eating. And she didn't have an eating disorder, by the way. But okay, so I'm noticing this, and I asked her a question. I was like, "When's the last time you went number 2?" And she looked at me and she thought about it. She said, "I don't know." I said, "Oh, I see." And for her mental and emotional state was directly connected to her gut health. Now, mind you, of course, she had different stressors as well. She had different things going on, but her gut health could provide some additional resistance to the particular stressors. Now, of course, I taught her some of the other things that I'm going to teach you today, but that first layer of defense was her gut health. So getting the things nutritionally, like balancing out with the proper vitamins, with the proper minerals, with the proper probiotics, with the proper prebiotics. Obviously, the stuff that she actually likes, that was crucial for her being able to balance and regulate herself. And so the same can be said for you. Probably, and you know what? Probably the most effective and efficient way to build up a nice resistance in the body is to target your gut health. I can give you a whole bunch of minerals. I can give you a whole bunch of vitamins. I can give you a whole bunch of nutrient dense superfoods. But probably the most swift and effective form of nutrition in terms of defending yourself against stress is definitely targeting that gut health. Why? Because the gut health literally affects your sleep, it affects your energy, it affects your mood, and it affects your immune system. It affects so many different things just by focusing on the gastrointestinal system. So if you're able to see where do I need to improve in my nutrition, then you'll be able to defend your entire body from the pressures and the stresses of that comes with stress. So what you want to do is you want to reflect and see, okay, what am I eating on a day-to-day basis? What am I eating over a week? What am I eating over 2 weeks? Is it a lot of snacks? Is it a lot of unnatural fats? Is it a lot of sugar? Is it a lot of salts? Is it fresh food or is it fake food, if you will? I think y'all know what I mean when I mean by fake food. By fake food, not naturally from the earth. constantly fried, constantly salted, constantly adding sugar to the, you know what I'm saying? So what's the ratio on a day-to-day basis? Are you having it every day? Chick-fil-A sandwich every day? Number one, no pickles, American cheese, extra fries, fruit punch? No, I'm sorry. Cookies and cream milkshake? Every day? Or are you rotating some grilled stuff in there? Are you rotating some salad with, blackened salmon? Are you rotating the fresh fruit? Are you substituting the fries for a fruit cup? It's decisions like that that are really preparing a level of defense for our body. And that's what's going to be essential. Step number one, and it comes to proven ways to deal with stress. Okay. Now, that's the nutritional physical side. Now, I'm going to say 1A and 1B is actual movement. And by movement, I mean exercise. By exercise, I do not mean the most intensity, insane workout that you can complete, because going too hard in your workout can also trigger cortisol. What I'm saying is a regular movement routine to be able to not only stimulate blood flow, but stimulate endorphins as well. And based on what your body needs, you want to focus your workouts. So, for example, if you are dealing with a lot of anxiety, then the best type of workouts for you are cardio. Because why cardio? Because that forces you to be able to breathe. That forces you to just, allow your blood to pump. And it really forces you to be able to focus on the task at hand in a calming sort of way, right? Now, if you're dealing with depression, typically research says, not Cameron, research says weightlifting is the better option, right? Because we get a boost of serotonin when we are doing a nice pushing motion, right? And so figuring out what you need is going to be a great step in terms of dealing with your stress, because a lot of people, they're dealing with, their different mental health conditions, their different stressors, their different issues. They're going to the gym and then they leave the gym and they're like, okay, I still got all this stuff to do. I still got all these stressors to deal with. And that leads me to, excuse me, they're dealing with all these stressors, but at least you can put your body and be able to regulate that cortisol, to channel that cortisol, to channel that stress into your workout so that you're able to refresh, so that you can approach it from a different perspective, approach it from a different headspace, right? Okay, so talked about nutrition, we talked about working out. Those two things are going to provide great defense and great maintenance for your body as far as defending yourself against stress. Okay. Now, another thing that I'm going to add to that physical side of it, in terms of working out, is also being able to recognize where in your body is holding the stress. See, stress impacts you. Of course, it impacts everybody different, but typically it will target your neck, your shoulders, and your back. And if you are sitting a lot, and actually if you're standing a lot, you can pretty much target your legs as well. Now, for some people, it will be your feet, probably your hamstrings if you're standing a lot. If you're sitting a lot, it'll be your glutes and your lower back, typically because your posture is going to be horrible. So figuring out, okay, because of the way that I sit, because of the nature of my job, my body is impacted by stress in this way. I talked a little bit a couple weeks ago about the chiropractor visit that I had and how I had to change some things in my posture and how I sit, because when I see clients, I like to lean in, let them know that I'm attentive. But that was going to hurt not only my shoulders, but it's also hurting my back and posture as well. So I had to correct some things when I'm meeting with them. And so for you, you have to identify, okay, on my job, how can I fix this? Okay, cool. I need to maybe do some massages so I'm always getting those stress knots out of my body. I got to make sure that I stretch before bed. I got to make sure I stretch when I wake up in the morning. I got to make sure that, when my body feels tight, I'm not ignoring it. I'm not pushing through it. I'm making sure that I take my time and be able to flush that out, flush those stress knots, flush that tightness out of my body. Okay. Okay. So this is called, Cameron, I thought you said this was called Mental Wellness Live. This is Mental Wellness Live, but when it comes to handling stress, you got to understand stress is a holistic issue. It's not just a mental issue, it's a entire body issue. And we have to address that first. Now, to your point, let's go ahead and flip the script and head to the mental as well. So, the thing about mental wellness and stress, a lot of people want to jump to anxiety or jump to depression or jump to a lot of other mental illnesses. But really, we got to sit back and think about, okay, what happens when I am stressed, just to my brain in general? Well, if you think about it, stress not only hinders your focus, but it also impacts how you're able to creatively and cognitively like focus. When you're under a lot of pressure, it's going to be harder to make decisions, especially if you're in a position of leadership, you're in a position of power. You have to make a lot of decisions, and if your mind is under a lot of pressure, your mind is under a lot of stress, that can impact and make you make decisions out of emotion that can make you feel overwhelmed, and you might want to run, isolate. You don't even want to face those decisions. But when you're able to handle stress in a proven way, in a healthy way, then you'll be able to, even under the pressure, you're able to deal with it. And so managing for the mind when it comes to proven ways for stress, number one, you got to manage your time and your focus. Sounds simple, right? The problem is when people are working, when people are grinding, right? Like you're pushing through either for your company, you're pushing through for your business, you're pushing through for school, and you're just pushing. You're just really trying to get the work done because you maybe you procrastinated a couple weeks ago, but we ain't gonna talk about that. So you're really just trying to push through it and finish it. However, what you have to understand is that the human mind, especially in today's TikTok, Instagram, fast paced social media, the human mind can only focus for so long. And so you are pushing 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hours of working straight, but you don't recognize that the pace of your work is declining, and you're reading the same word over and over again. You're trying to type up emails, but you can't even formulate the words because your brain is exhausted, right? You're putting your brain under stress. You're putting your brain under pressure when you need to take a break. And so I encourage you to invest in not invest, but partake in techniques like the primordial technique, which is basically where you work for a period of time, you take a break, and then you come back to it. Now, research says that the human brain can only focus for about 45 minutes to an hour without having that, rereading and being able to truly focus and lock in. That's why I like to keep my presentations under 30 minutes, especially on LinkedIn Live. Matter of fact, where are we at? We're at 25 minutes. Okay. But That is why. So when you're doing 30-minute blocks, take about a 15, 20-minute break and then get back to it. And then take another break and then get back to it. And what you'll find is that the efficiency, the speed, the quality of work in those 30 minutes is going to go up than you trying to just elongate that time. So that's the very first simple thing that you can do to alleviate stress and pressure off of your mind. Because what's going to happen is your work quality is going to go up, your work efficiency is going to go up, and you're going to get so much more done because you're focused and you're able to allow your brain to breathe. You're allowed to scroll for 15 minutes. You're allowed to listen to a podcast or watch anime or whatever you want to do in that 20-minute span, because you're able to do it and you're able to do it guilt-free as well. Okay? All right. Now, another thing that we can do for our brain is hang out with friends. Now, not the stressful friends who got problems of their own and they're trying to bring it on you, but I'm talking about good quality social connection is proven to help with one's emotional well-being. Now, what does this mean? This might mean you might need to enforce some boundaries on the ones who ain't doing this. This might mean that you actually might need to add to your schedule, hey, call grandma. Hey, call my cousin. Call my friend, my old college roommate. Haven't talked to them in about 6 months. Shoot them a text. Social connection, it helps because it gives you a connection and purpose outside of work. And that's where a lot of people are going wrong, because they're all work and no personal outside of work. So adding in your social connections into your routine, into your flow is going to be good. It's going to be alleviating for your emotional well-being. It's very important. Okay. So I'll give you one more and then I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. So another one is being able to process your thoughts. Having a healthy way to channel and process your thoughts. Now, a lot of people, now you can do this however you so please. A lot of people channel their thoughts with meditation. However, I'm a fan of meditation. However, a lot of people who, have anxiety or they're dealing with stuff in the moment, they have trouble with meditation because their brain is bouncing all over the place and meditation is a bit too quiet for them. So if meditation works for you, I want you to continue it. However, another great way to deal with your brain, as far as definitely to-do lists, and I'm not necessarily going all the way to anxiety. We're just talking about like when your thoughts are literally just bouncing in your head, just going all over the place. You got ideas all over the place, right? And you just can't ground them. What I want you to do is channel them into a notepad. It's very simple. So you can either do one or two things. You can get your phone or a piece of paper and you can just brain dump. Now, brain dumping is basically what it sounds like. You are just typing out whatever comes to mind. No matter how random, no matter how crazy it sounds, you're just trying to get it out. And what you're going to find is, what you're going to find is that as you go, you're going to start organizing these thoughts naturally. And the tension in your brain is eventually going to decompress, and you're just going to be able to calm down easily without your mind going all over the place. The second thing that you can do is simply write out the things that you want to do tomorrow and reflect on things that you've done today. Kind of that simple, especially for those of us who are busy professionals. Like, because we're constantly thinking forward, thinking of what we got to do, thinking of what's in the future, thinking of what I got to get done. But when you start to really just ground your thoughts in something as simple as a piece of paper, it can bring your cortisol level all the way down. You feel me? It's really simple things like that that can make a huge difference in our well-being that we're really overlooking. And you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and give you one more just for the road because I see we're at 30 minutes, so I really want to just speed it up. So one more thing that you can do for proven ways to deal with stress. When I talked earlier about that fight or flight, that cortisol, right? The other one is that rest and digest state, which typically happens when we're able to engage our parasympathetic nervous system. So there's the system that the cortisol level activates that stimulates us for fight or flight, and then there's the other side of the nervous system that allows us to be calm. You want to engage that calming system, right? And probably the most infamous one, which is why we like to teach children that because it's very easy to figure out, and that is breathing. Figuring out your own breathing technique is going to be essential. Just as simple as, and you don't even necessarily have to have just a repetition or a format or stuff like that, but just learning how to focus on your breath is going to be essential for really just bringing a state of calm over your body, right? And so I want you to practice just breathing, putting your phone down and just breathing. Deep, slow breathing for about 3 to 5 minutes and see how you feel after that. Imagine if you did this after a hard meeting. Imagine if you did this after you were in a emotional argument. Imagine if you did this in the middle of an argument. The state of calm for your body will allow you to be able to respond instead of react. Allow you to think rationally instead of emotionally. Allow you to be able to have resilience instead of being overwhelmed. Learning different strategies like this, implementing these strategies that we talked about today is going to put you in a better place when those stressors come. Because what we don't want, because the reality of the fact is stress is going to always be there. Different things are going to stress you out. Different people are going to stress you out. We can't do nothing about the things that we can't control. But what we can control is the vessel and the defense that we can build in our body when the stress comes. Because what we don't want is for you to break down and burn out. Because then nothing gets done and then a whole bunch of other stuff happens. And we don't want that. Okay? Now, if you want a full gambit of resources, I'm talking breathing techniques. I'm talking about visualizations. I'm talking about somatic movements. I'm talking about the full gambit to be able to turn your stress off when you need it to be. Then I implore you to invest in yourself and purchase the Turn Your Stress Off mini course that's in the description below. Now, if you want 25% off, you can go ahead and hit that other link that will send you the coupon code for the course. But I definitely implore you to get the course if you're dealing with a lot of stress. Invest in yourself, invest in your health to deal with stress, because stress will slowly kill you if you ignore it. And if you don't have a plan to deal with stress, it's going to keep attacking you. So you got to learn how to healthily deal with it so that it not only doesn't affect your productivity, your performance, but also your health and well-being as well. I encourage you to do that and invest in yourself. And take yourself a free coupon code as well. But until then, I'll see you guys next time. And yeah, we're still gonna be here for MLK Live on MLK Day. We're gonna be right here giving you guys the game. And yeah, we're gonna be providing that good knowledge resource so that you can have a great mental well life. Okay, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.